We're at the Crowd Invest Summit in Los Angeles, California, at the LA Convention Center. And here we have Jason Paltrowitz with us. He is the Executive Vice President of Services for OTC Market Group. So we wanted to ask you a little bit about why you're here. You did a panel on crowdfunding to IPO, and you're one of the biggest influences and voices right now in educating people. So it's a pleasure and honor to have you on.
Thank you. So obviously we're here to continue to preach the gospel, if you will, of Reg A+. We were proud to be the market for the first Reg A+ closed Tier 2 transaction, Elio Motors. And we think, there's a real market out there for companies that are looking to raise capital, that are looking to use their customers as the way to raise that capital, to have customers become shareholders. And certainly having a public market, the benefit of Reg A+ is those shares are immediately freely tradable. We think we're a real option for companies in terms of cost and complexity as a public market for those shares.
And what advice can you give companies that are looking to possibly do this, that either the pros or the cons of what they should be looking at?
Well, I think there are a couple things. A company really needs to look in the mirror and say, are they ready? People look at crowdfunding and it's simple to say, I can go online and raise money. All right, it's really not that simple. Are you the kind of company that has a committed following? Are you the kind of company that has a following that is investable, an investable following? And do you have the infrastructure set up to be able to support being a public company? Do you have good accountants? Do you have good lawyers? Do you have good documentation? Are your financials all set? And then are you prepared to be what a public company needs to be? Raising the money kind of becomes the easy part. It's how do you meet the needs of your investors ongoing? How do you continue to file and do all the public filings that you need to do? And I think companies really just need to make sure they've thought of that before they get through the exciting part of, I can raise money on the internet. Certainly the second piece of advice we tell all of our companies is, make sure you've really thought about who your advisors are. Like everything else in the space, there are good advisors, there are bad advisors. There are a number of people, unfortunately, like everything else, that prey on the unknowing or the uneducated. And, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and people that have built great companies that get taken to bad places from bad advisors. And so as the market, we really feel committed to helping small companies understand the landscape, know who a good provider is, whether that's a provider of accounting services or investment banking services or legal services. And they're prepared to really do that vetting to make sure they don't become a company that after a year has kind of done a death spiral financing or has run afoul of regulations, and then they're lost.
And we know how common that is, obviously. I think a lot of people are in the audience, they've seen these types of things. That's a very good point to make.
Yeah.
At the Crowd Invest Summit, why is it important for companies to come to something like this, and why are you sponsoring this type of event and being here to really help get the word out?
Well, I think the most important is it's so new, right? So you come here because it is so new. There's so much to learn. There haven't been that many deals. What's interesting is, you come to a lot of events like this and everybody's an expert. But when you really think about it, there haven't been enough deals for everybody to be an expert. So we think, given our position as the market, where we are unbiased, where we don't really have a vested interest, where we're not, making a lot of money on a transaction, we can come here and just educate. We've seen the deals, we know what people have done, we know what works, we know what doesn't work. Ultimately, that'll benefit us as a business, right? So if we can be there to educate, to discuss the pros, the cons, the things to think about, that's kind of important for us, and we feel obligated to do that. We have 10,000 companies that trade on our market. The majority of them are small companies, entrepreneurial companies, and it's our mandate. We feel passionate about helping them. We were a small company. We trade on our own market. We went private to public. We've gone through this, and we really feel passionate about doing that. And so we come here and hope we can pass that on.
Oh, it's great, it's great. Lastly, where do you see this going? What's the future hold for this?
I think this is part of a portfolio of ways companies can raise money and go public. I don't think somebody suggested yesterday that this was the future of the IPO market. It's not the future of the IPO market. There will always be big companies that need to raise significantly more capital. There will still be a place for investment banks and for large institutions taking big positions in companies. Uber is not going to go public using Reg A+. Let's be honest. But for small entrepreneurial companies that have a great following, that have good products, good story to tell, this is just another tool in the arsenal of being able to help build their company. For investors, it's fantastic. I mean, this is really the last bastion of things you can do on the internet. In '94, Amazon came along and you could buy books, and everybody said that was crazy. There are very few Barnes & Nobles around anymore. Up until February, you could not go on the internet and participate in an offering of new shares. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's one of those things, the internet's not going away. I think we can all agree. I don't think raising capital online is going to go away either, and I think that's exciting.
Well, that's very valuable information, a lot of insight. I thank you again so much for taking your time to spend with us here, and hope to have you on again sometime.
My pleasure.
Thanks,
Great.
Jason.
Thank you.